And thanks for watching tonight, The Ed Show on MSNBC. Republicans are wrong, and Warren Buffett, he knows he is correct. A new congressional analysis shows that 25% of millionaires pay a smaller percentage of taxes than middle-class families. And remember, when Republicans say they want tax cuts, what they really mean is tax cuts for the rich.
Part of the problem is today only 53% of Americans pay any federal income tax at all. 47% pay nothing. We need to broaden the base so that everybody pays something, even if it's $1.
We're dismayed at the injustice that nearly half of all Americans don't even pay any income tax. And, you know, and the liberals out there are saying that we need to pay more.
I don't want to raise taxes on the American people, but I think everybody ought to feel that they're part of this effort. I think it's a real problem when you have almost half of Americans that are not paying income tax.
And Governor Perry, I'm one of those liberals out there who says, yes, the wealthy should pay more. You see, they want the 47% of Americans who are too poor to even qualify for federal income tax to start paying, even though they already pay state, local, and payroll taxes. And Republicans don't care if the payroll tax cut comes to an end.
If the payroll tax cut is not extended, that would mean a tax increase for all Americans. What would be the consequences of that?
No one likes to see tax increases, but look.
Romney then changed the subject. But when asked again about the payroll tax cut, he said, I don't like little Band-Aids. And let's not forget GOP frontrunner Herman Cain.
My top priority is 999.
And don't forget that. 999 is the regressive tax from hell. The 47% of Americans in the lower bracket would suddenly pay 27% in combined taxes under the 999 plan. Let's bring in Professor of Public Policy at the University of California at Berkeley and author of the book Aftershock, Mr. Robert Reich. Mr. Reich, good to have you with us tonight.
Good evening, Ed.
I want to start with Herman Cain's 999 plan. Explain why it is such a grossly regressive, unfair tax.
Well, it's regressive because if you have a flat tax like that, 999, essentially it means the rich are paying less and the poor are paying more. I mean, essentially it means that we're getting rid of all the progressivity in the tax code right now. Not that much, but you're getting rid of whatever is remaining.
And let's be clear, Mitt Romney would basically raise taxes on the middle class. Is that how you read it?
Well, there's no question about it. There's no other way of balancing the budget if you are not going to raise taxes on the rich and you are also going to raise taxes on the poor. I mean, look at this is just a matter, as Obama says, as the president says, of mathematics. It's also, though, Ed, a question of morality. I mean, we have seen for years that more and more and more of the nation's income has been going to the very top, the top 1%. More and more of the nation's wealth has been going to the very top. At the very same time, the tax rates paid by the effective tax rates paid by the very, very rich keep on going down, which means more and more of the burden is on the middle class and the poor. It also means the public services are being sacrificed. It's been going on for years, but now it's really completely out of control. And I think that's what a lot of the Occupy Wall Street is all about. Because with all of that money, with all that wealth at the top, also comes political power. Political power to keep their tax rates low, political power to make sure that the rest of America doesn't get the medical care they need, doesn't get the education they need, and ultimately does not and is not able to organize and mobilize to take back America.
We've used this chart on this program showing the effective federal tax rate Republicans, and they won't be satisfied until the bottom 99% are paying the same rate as the top 400 taxpayers in America. How could this politically be a winning policy for them?
Well, it's not a winning policy. I mean, Americans know in their bones that they're paying more and more, and they know that the rich are paying less and less, and yet the rich are raking in more and more of the national income. And if you look at all the polls, the interesting thing, Red, is that for years, a lot of Americans have been hoodwinked by this myth of downward trickle-down economics, that if you make the rich richer, everybody else benefits. Well, now people are beginning to catch on. That is absolutely wrong. It is a cruel joke. Trickle down. Nothing trickles down. Also, also, a lot of Americans were fooled by the idea that one day they would be very rich, they'd all be millionaires, and therefore they don't want to tax millionaires. Most Americans these days know that is also a mythology. They are not going to be a millionaire, most people. They just want a fair deal. They just want to make sure that if they work hard, they can get ahead. They can save a little bit for their college education, for their kids' college education. They can save for retirement. Most Americans are not greedy. This is not class warfare. And most people understand this is about fundamental fairness.
And there's no better example than Warren Buffett. He released his tax return proving, should I say, that he's paying a lower overall rate at 17%. And the study came out showing there really is a problem. Will it ever get fixed? What do you think?
Well, I think it is going to get fixed, and because people are mobilizing and they are energized. I mean, they understand that the budget deficit is real, and if the rich don't pay their fair share, everybody else is going to have to pay more or sacrifice real and important services. The social safety net is already in shreds, and it will be even more shredded unless we get some control over the budget deficit, which means that the rich do have to pay their fair share. And, you know, I'm amused. You have a lot of conservative commentators and Republicans these days are saying, oh, if Warren Buffett wants to pay more in taxes, if any other rich person wants to pay more in taxes, they can pay. Well, that's not the point. The point is that we need to change the federal tax laws so that there are more tax brackets at the top, so that there are higher marginal taxes at the top, so people have to pay more if they are citizens of the United States and doing extremely well. And
we had a rate that was successful in the past at 39%. Mr. Reich, always a pleasure. Good to have you with us.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Coming up, the Tan Man says he's listening to the American people, but you'd never know it by looking at his policies. I'll tell Boehner what the American people are really saying in Psycho Talk. And the Republican wrecking crew continues its war on postal workers. Find out what damage was done today in Congress. I'll talk with the president of the American Postal Workers Union, Cliff Guffey. You're watching The Ed Show on MSNBC. Stay with us.